What's poppin', T Squad? It's me, Keisha, and I'm here with tonight's All Tea, All Shade, real world homecoming Los Angeles. I think that's the title. Child, don't give me why. Season 2, episode 4 review. So on today's episode, it starts off with Tammy telling the cast about how she met her ex-husband Kenny Anderson and how she didn't know who he was, he didn't know who she was, and the whole dynamics of their relationship. And you can just tell that Beth is really fascinated with Tammy's life because, like I said on last week's review, that I think that she wants to befriend Tammy so bad because Tammy has the life that Beth wanted back in 93. Remember, she wanted to be a television correspondent. She wanted to be in that Hollywood lifestyle, and it didn't work out for her, and it did for Tammy. So I think that she's very fascinated and impressed by what Tammy has done with her career. So they all find out that they're going on a yacht to stay for the night or whatever the case may be. They're getting out of the house, which I find to be very good for the show because they didn't do that last season with the New York cast to get them out of their element, put them in situations that will, spark up different emotions and feelings and challenge them. So I like that. So they get on this fabulous yacht. I mean, gorgeous yacht. Everybody has their own rooms, big beds. It's really beautiful, very luxurious. And for a person like John, he says that he lives paycheck to paycheck. So experience something like this for him is just like, mind blowing for him. So while they get on the yacht and they're having dinner or lunch or something like that, everybody's sitting at the table, and Irene goes to tell us, excuse me, you guys, I'm very tired today. Irene tells us about the fact that when she came on the show in 93, and remember her storyline was her being engaged and getting married. And when she got married in 93, she left the show, and that's how she got replaced with one of the other Beths. But she failed to tell the producers and anybody else on the show that she had already been married once before, straight out of high school with her high school sweetheart. And she said that she didn't want to tell anybody because maybe she was embarrassed, that now she's on her second marriage, this, that, and the third. Which was a shocker to me and everybody else in the house. They were like, damn, like even the producers didn't know. And she was like, no. Um, and I think that that would have made people probably look at her different and probably would have judged her. I know I probably would have back then, even myself. And then she goes on to say that she was in that marriage for, I believe, about 9 or 10 years. And she stayed for her children. And she said that her and her husband just didn't have a lot in common. And she just didn't want to have another divorce, basically, on her record. But she ended up leaving. Then after that, around 2004, she met her third husband, got married again, stayed in that marriage for 13 years because once again, she just did not want to have another failed marriage on her record, but she left that situation. And after that, that's when she met her now fourth husband. I think his name was Phil, who she says that she's madly in love with. Like, this is the one, this is her person. She met him on Bumble or whatever. So while they're on the yacht, she's going to renew her vows to her now current fourth husband. And I was like, child, Irene and that pussy done been through it, child. Goodness gracious, God almighty. But, it took her 3 times, to get it right. And that's sometimes what you have to do. Everybody's love story isn't perfect. So I don't really blame her. There might be some shame on her part, but I don't feel like she should have any shame. Like, she stuck it out for as long as she could with those relationships or whatever. And they just didn't pan out the way that she wanted them to. Hopefully, prayerfully, this fourth one does. I don't want to hear it 10 years from now that this one didn't work out neither. And she realized he wasn't the one. Because I'm going to be like, Irene, well, maybe the problem was you, bitch. Shit, it's them bangs, bitch. It is 2021. You still walking around here with bangs and fucking a wrap with purple highlights. What the fuck is wrong with you? You're childish. So, then at some point while they're having lunch, we notice, David has been vaping or whatever. He got a little vape pen or whatever. And he's been, vaping, smoking, going over his shoulder, like, blowing the smoke down. I don't know if he was blowing it in other directions, but I did see him blowing it over his shoulder. Well, at some point, the blonde, not the blonde Beth, the bisexual Beth gets up and removes herself from the table. And so Beth, the other Beth, goes and checks on her to find out what's wrong. Because she was just like, I don't want him blowing marijuana in my face. I take my sobriety very seriously, And the other Beth was like, I think it's just, a vape pen. I don't know if it's that. It might just be something else. She was like, well, I just don't know. I just got up quietly. I wasn't trying to disturb anything. I just don't want to have that in my face and being blown in my face because, I take my sobriety very seriously and I don't want anything to interfere with that. So she was like, I'm just going to, chill here for a second or whatever. I'm good, but thanks for, checking on me. So Messy Beth, that's what we'll say, messy and bisexual Beth, so you can know who is who. Messy Beth goes back to the table and was like, David, could you just stop smoking weed at the table? And he was like, it's my vape. He was like, this is tobacco. She was like, well, yeah, but you're blowing it in people's faces. And he was like, Beth, don't start with me. Please do not start with me. Like, because basically for him, everybody has been around Tammy smoking and nobody said anything. But when they showed the flashback clips of Tammy smoking, Tammy was either away from everybody else where everybody, was free to roam. She wasn't smoking around anybody. Or when she was in the car, she would smoke out the window and blow the smoke out the window. Beth had an issue with David because when he was vaping in the car, he was just blowing the smoke into the car. Now, she made it seem like he was blowing the shit in her face. Kept on saying he was blowing it directly in my face. She was driving. He was in behind the passenger seat. So he wasn't blowing shit in her face. It wasn't getting that far. Now, would it have been annoying because he's smoking in the car, period, and that smoke is getting in the car? Yes. For somebody like myself that does not smoke, that does not like the smell of smoke, yes, it would have irritated me as well. And I would have said, hey, could you do that out the window like Tammy? Point blank in the period. But my thing with Messy Beth is that it wasn't an issue for you to say something until bisexual Beth said something. And that was her battle to fight. She was the one that got her from the table. She was the one that said, I'm okay. I just removed myself from the situation. You should have let her handle it. True in fact that she probably came to the table on some, hey, just trying to help out a friend, da 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 da. But knowing your issues with David in the past, you just shouldn't have been the person to deliver that, because this goes back to you being messy with y'all back in the day. So of course David didn't want to hear that, especially coming from Messy Beth, and he was just like, leave me alone. He kept on saying, let me alone, let me alone. Now you know what the motherfucker said, let me alone. You need to let him the fuck alone. So he started calling her Karen, child, and I put my hands over my face because I was like, Jesus Christ, this man is calling her a Karen. But if you go back into reality show history, Messy Beth was really the first television Karen. So everybody else at the table is just like, Lord Jesus, help us all. So he finally gets her up off of him, but he is just not pleased. He just like, I don't want to fuck with her. Like he even says to her, my daughter warned me about you. He warned me that, your ass was going to be on some messy damn shit. Keep on fucking with me. And like I said, she just shouldn't have said nothing to him, period, with their past. So then later on that day, next day, I think it might have been later on that day, when everybody's preparing for Irene's wedding, Messy Beth brings up the fact that she felt some type of way about John officiating Irene and her husband's vow renewal. But when she got married back in 2008, I believe, she asked him to officiate her wedding and he said no. So she's trying to figure out what is the difference of you officiating their vow renewal and not officiating mine. And she's like, I've only been married once, still married to my husband, but yet and still you're officiating Irene's wedding, and this is her fourth marriage. Now, when she brings this up in front of everybody, she also says that at the time, John said to her that, basically, you ain't got no relationship with God like that, so I don't feel comfortable or whatever officiating your wedding. He also explains in present day that the reason why he didn't officiate Messy Beth's wedding is because his mentor at the time was like, you've never met her husband, you don't know him, you don't know if this marriage is of God or whatever. I just think that it's not a good idea for you to do it or whatever. Um, Now he's met Irene's husband Phil. He's been there or whatever. I can understand how Beth would take that and feel some type of way. I just think the moment when she brought it up once again was at a messy time because we're focusing on Irene. You could have taken him aside and had that conversation one on one instead of in front of the group, and then put Irene on blast and was like, "Well, she been married 4 times. I only been married once." And if I was Irene, I would have been like, "Bitch, my shit ain't got nothing to do with you. Like, the fuck you bringing me into this?" But I once again I do agree with Beth. Like, that would have made me feel some type of way. Like, what the fuck is it with me that you didn't want to officiate mine, but you would officiate hers? And that would make me look at John sideways. John to me still is, what's the word? He's two-faced. He's two-faced, and he likes to play and use excuses based on religion for him being two-faced and judgmental. And he has a lot to work on, especially if you talking about you want to mentor people, this, that, and the third. It's just something about John and his ways that just really don't rub me the right way. I think overall he's a good person, but he just got some skewed views on things. But I feel like Messy Beth did have a reason to feel some type of way based on that. That would make me look at him sideways. So, Tammy then tries to talk to David later on that night after talking to both Beths about the situation. And David just is not trying to hear shit she got to say. He was like, "I'm down here by myself. I ain't talking to nobody. I'm just down here chilling. Like, y'all need to go on. Y'all on some bullshit. It's basically like, ain't shit else going on. Y'all trying to start shit with me to have a moment." And Tammy really honestly was not coming down there on no bullshit. Like, she was literally down there just trying to tell him where the girls was coming from and give him some advice. But he was just closed off and did not want to listen. He would not let her talk edgewise. He was like, "If I'm around a bunch of married ass women, if you don't get your married ass on somewhere, I holler." That shit was funny as hell. Then Tammy got to following him all around the yacht, and he was like, "So you just gonna follow me all around the yacht?" And she was like, "Yeah. You shouldn't have did that." Well, as soon as that man got irate and was like, "I don't want to talk, leave me alone," it should have been left alone. Should have been left alone, because you following him everywhere around this boat, that's not cool based off y'all history. You know what I'm saying? It's just boundaries that should be in place. And I didn't like the fact that Tammy kept on, badgering him about it and trying to make him talk about it. You know what I'm saying? I felt like she initially came from a good place, but all that following him was not necessary. She should have just left it the fuck alone. Once again, it's not her battle to fight. So after Irene's vow renewal, everybody's sitting at the table. And once again, can't nobody read the room. Everybody want to bring up shit at the wrong and opportune times. So Glenn is at the table, and he brings up that, being at her vow renewal, Irene's vow renewal, brought up a lot of shit for him because his second wife, which really wasn't his second wife, but it was a long-term girlfriend, recently passed away 2 years ago. And he's like subtly hitting around like what happened, but he's not saying exactly what happened. He just said that she wasn't herself, that she, because somebody asked, was she sick? And he was like, in a way, seems to me like she had some mental health issues and she ended up killing herself. I think she committed suicide because he was like, she couldn't have children and she just didn't feel fulfilled in life. So I think she had some struggles and things, and I think she ultimately probably killed herself, which is very sad. But I just like, this is supposed to be a happy occasion. Why are you bringing this up right now? Now, bisexual Beth knows the story because her and Glenn, are cool in real life. But she was like, it's not my place to, say what it is. It's his. But she did appreciate the fact that he was opening up about it, because he even said himself that this was something that he struggled on whether or not to bring up while on the show. So I do feel bad for him in that instance, but it's still something about his bald-headed ass that I can't real vibe with. I don't know. It's just something about him that when he kept on fucking with David on last week's episode, calling him Dave and Dominic and all of this old ignorant ass bullshit. I'm like, you bald head scallywag. Ain't nobody got time for that. Don't make me cuss you out. Because y'all really been trying David. And we all could see that David got his own struggles, and he's, got battles with, probably alcoholism and probably other drugs. But he's really on here trying. Not to say that he's not at fault for certain things. Like when he threw that damn apple at that man, like he was 100% wrong for that. But So far, I'm like, leave that man alone. I'm team David with certain things. So, um, David and Tammy ended up talking finally after he calmed down and everything like that. And he was just like, she was like, what is it about Messy Beth that gets you? He was like, I just don't trust her. With our history, I feel like she just be fucking with me and poking at me, and I just can't vibe with her like that. I just cannot. And so she was like, okay. So she was like, are you willing to talk to her now? He was like, yeah, call over her. So he called Messy Beth over there, and Beth was trying to explain that she just didn't like the fact that he kept on blowing smoke in her face in moments where they have to be in a group setting and she can't move away, like it's disrespectful. And he was trying to explain himself, but she kept on talking over him. And of course, he got frustrated and was like, when you ready to let me speak, I'll come back and talk to you. So he walks away for a moment. He comes back and he was like, look, let's just be cordial and sweet to each other and just be chill. Like, let's just leave it the fuck there. Like no, because it's just not gonna work. And he was like, she was like, well, you keep on calling me names talking about the Karen thing, which was not right. He was wrong, 100% wrong for calling that girl a fucking Karen. But he had to remind her, you have called me even worse in the past, with the whole rapist thing. And she was like, I use that as a metaphor. It don't fucking matter. This black man had that stigma of being a rapist on him for over 20 something years, ma'am. Totally different from all of what you're talking about. Like, he's just not gonna be able to get over that with you giving one apology. No, no, ma'am. That's not how that works. So once everything is calm and cool, Tammy leans over to David and was like, when you go downstairs, pick up the eggshells you got everybody walking on. And he kind of laughed or whatever, because there is a lot of tension in the house. Being around David does make you feel antsy because you don't know what you're going to get from him or whatever. We all know that he's been in the house drinking straight, gin or some shit. Like, the nigga got some shit going on, but so does everybody else in this household. And we know that things are going to go even further downhill as this season continues, child, and I'm here for it. I will be doing reviews on The Real Housewives of Miami. It debuted today, the first 2 episodes on Peacock TV. So check that out. I will be doing reviews. Let me know what you thought of today's episode of Real World Homecoming LA. Let me know down below in the comment section. Make sure to thumbs up this video, like, and subscribe. And this Saturday, you guys, on Tubi, my movie Paper Heart will be debuting. I will be posting when it's live on my social media. Please, please, please tune in and support. Stream it as many times as you can. I really want to make sure that we get a big debut number. You guys, let's blow these execs and studios away. Support your girl. Tune in this Saturday on Tubi for a Paper Heart. For anybody out there that don't know what Tubi is an app that you can watch on your smart TV or on your phone. Just simply go to your app store, type in Tubi, Tubi. It will come up. It is a free app, free content to watch. Just type in Paper Heart, Keisha Irvin, or Paper Heart. Just type in Paper Heart and it'll come up on your smart TV. Go to your app section, put in Tubi, download the Tubi app, sign up, and boom, it's free to watch. So that's how you can watch my movie Paper Heart. For anybody that does not have Tubi or out of the country, that is how you can watch. Please tune in. Once again, I love you guys immensely. Also, this Sunday I'll be interviewing the gentleman, the love interest, and Melody Holt's video. That footage will be up Tuesday, so be on the lookout for that. Love you guys. See you on the next video. Peace.